This is Otter Radio. Welcome
to the next level.
Hello everyone, and welcome to The Next Level, Utter Radio's first and only gaming magazine programme. I, as always, am David Smith, and I am joined by the ever-excellent Eleanor Whitehurst.
Hello everyone. Behind the desk, pushing all the correct buttons, hopefully, are our lovely, beautiful, intelligent, fabulous, and always energetic producers, Alfie and Lucy, who also happen to be the ones writing this part of the script.
Hello.
Hello everyone.
And last but not least, our in-house newsman, Josh.
Hello everyone.
Hello indeed. We've got a brilliant show lined up for you. We have Jacob Holden from Special Effects calling into the studio to tell us about the amazing work they've been getting up to.
Lucy will be speaking to voice acting veteran Tom Dusick and taking us through what it's like to work as a voice actor in the industry.
It was a challenge to make it interesting. So few places I could go with it.
And Eleanor will be diving into the future of the metaverse.
We've even got an interview with the creators of Manchester's Amateur Gaming League, as well as some clips of how we did when we tested our skills. Remember, you can find us on our social media at Next Level Utter on Twitter, Instagram and Twitch. We always enjoy hearing your thoughts.
But before all that, Josh, what have you been up to?
Well, I think it's safe to say that every kid has wondered how games are made and wanted to be a designer. Unfortunately, we can't all be developers. But I got the next best thing when I talked with 3D artist Dan Hutchinson from D3T Studios, responsible for working on some of the largest AAA games in recent years.
So, when it comes to being a 3D artist, how does that work? What are your responsibilities in terms of inputting towards the games that you make?
The work I do is fairly general, so on any kind of given project I could be working on props, which are like the little kind of items you see in the game environments, chairs, books on the side, all those kind of space fillers really. But I also get to do actual environments themselves, the grounds that you walk on, the mountains and the trees. So it is quite fair.
So D3T Studios are a support studio. They've helped on big AAA games such as Witcher, Guardians of the Galaxy. What's the process on working with those other companies that can be halfway across the world?
So it's quite an interesting one. The co-dev is quite fun because as a studio we get to work with, like you say, multiple clients on multiple projects, and we get that insight into those massive IPs. So I know for myself working here, it's been a great experience to be involved with such a variety, and it's in terms of working with the teams, and we kind of really end up getting integrated into the team and working with the teams of the clients, and kind of just really kind of gelling together. We're all after achieving that great final product.
So you've been working with D3T for 6 years now. What's been your favourite project to work on?
I think the Alan Wake remaster. It was great project to take on. It was great working with Remedy on it. We got to do so much hands-on stuff. We were kind of really trusted to take what they had and bring it to a new generation of players, I guess. Do the artwork justed by the new tools that we've got today. And I had the opportunity to work on the terrain and the materials. I'm quite interested in material work, so any kind of rocky grounds, muddy puddles, flowing grass hills. I got the opportunity to give them a revamp, which was really fun for me.
That was Dan Hutchinson from D3T Studios giving some great insight. If you have any development tidbits, remember you can tweet or Instagram messages at Next Level Utter and even let us know your games of the year.
Now, one of the key features in some of our most loved video games is voice acting. Lucy has been lucky enough to get a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to create those memorable performances with Tom Dusick, the voice actor behind Tom from the Knowledge is Power game franchise, along with roles in the Blue Toad Murder Files, Warhammer and many more.
So, Tom, do you think voice-acted video games is different to voice acting in television? Can it be difficult to get into over-exaggerated characters, do you think?
I think it is very different to telly. The telly I've done has tended to be sort of voice of God narration for series. and then you're very much underselling. You know, it's keep it down, let the video do the talking. So I think telly tends to be a little bit more subdued, and you've got a bit more leeway with video games.
Is there anything you feel like you needed to do to prepare for any voice acting roles in video games, like voice preparation wise?
When sort of forums became a thing on the internet, there'd be voiceover forums and people with loads of lists that you must do, you must prepare, you mustn't drink coffee, you mustn't drink milk. The truth is, you know, it really is a fast turnaround thing. You turn up, you do it, and you go. There's not the money. There isn't the money to spend on rehearsal time, on character preparation, on getting everything perfect. If there is any character preparation, that'll come when you're doing a demo read. So my agent will say, here's the character from this client, you sign the inevitable NDA, you do a few reads and they listen back, and if they like what you're doing, then you get the gig. If they don't, you don't. But that's where the development comes. When you arrive to record, you arrive to record. You don't arrive to try to rehearse or prepare or anything.
Have you got any kind of dream voice acting roles that you'd like to do in the future for video games?
I hate to break it to you, I don't play video games. I like anything that's funny. There's nothing like doing a role and you look through the glass and the engineer's laughing and the director's laughing. So if you get them laughing, then you know you've done something pretty good.
You've done your job. You've done your job, absolutely. Would you say there's anything particularly challenging about playing Tom in Knowledge's Power, about that role?
In Knowledge's Power, that was tricky because it started out as there were some lovely references, a bit Brian Blessed, a bit Stephen Fry, a bit sort of crazy English professor, but as it progressed, the client, who was American, got very, very twitchy that these references were not coming over and it was all going to be, people weren't understanding things. Because I think it was one of the first games to use mobile phones as the controller. So this character went from having, I could go lots of directions with it, with the characters to make it interesting, fun and stuff, to really not very far at all. And so it was a challenge to make it interesting, so few places I could go with it. So yeah, that was a bit tricky.
It was absolutely lovely to talk to you. I really do appreciate it. We look forward to seeing what sort of stuff you've got coming up.
Are you tired of slow reaction speeds during QuickTime events? Is your equipment just not cutting it? Use gaming mice. They really squeak. Gaming mice are live and must be fed. Please do not insert batteries into gaming mice. Mice may bite.
This is Otter Radio. Welcome
to the next level. If you want to keep in touch with Tom and learn more about his work, you can find him at www.tomdusick.com. It is coming up to 11:28, and here is Josh with the news.
To start with, the news you've all been waiting for but probably already heard. Last night was the Game Awards ceremony, and with that, the announcement of the Game of the Year. Even with an impressive lineup, it all came down to the battle between FromSoft's smash hit Elden Ring and Sony's record-breaking sequel, God of War Ragnarok. Here's a result read by former winner Joseph Ferris.
All right. Game of the Year winner is Elden Ring!
Director Hidetaka Miyazaki now ranks among the best game directors in history, with an amazing 3 Game of the Year awards, with his last 3 all winning. A well-deserved win if you ask me. In other news, starting in 2023, Xbox joins many publishers, with the price of their first-party games increasing from £60 to £70 to reflect their content, scale and technicality. In an effort to appease regulators about the Xbox Activision takeover, it's been announced that for the first time, Xbox will bring Call of Duty to Nintendo Switch, with a 10-year agreement to do so, as well as promising to continue to launch the franchise on Steam. PlayStation have yet to commit to any deals. After multiple studio heads and creative directors leaving 343 over the past 2 years, Halo Infinite suffers another blow, with multiplayer director Tom French departing the company, adding more strain to the already underwhelming game and raises questions about its muddy future. And in better news, a second season of the widely anticipated adaptation of The Last of Us has been teased by its star Bella Ramsey and co-creators Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin.
Are you ready to be playing Ellie for the future?
Yeah, I would like to play Ellie forever. However many seasons you want to do, I'm down.
All we need is for all of you to watch the show, and then we can make more.
The series debuts on HBO Max and Now TV on January 15th. I'm Josh, and this has been the news.
As the world around us shifts, many are wondering if it's possible to find a way to incorporate virtual reality into our lives and still feel human. I recently talked to our very own Professor Andy Mair about the metaverse and its up-and-coming role in society.
So today we have an event taking place as part of the Arts and Humanities Research Council Being Human Festival, which is aiming to bring people into the world of the metaverse, this future of virtual reality that's just on the cusp of becoming a reality.
Can you break down what the metaverse is in layman's terms?
Well, everyone spent the last 20 years getting closer to digital worlds through their mobile phones and computers, and now we have virtual reality platforms that allow us to do that in a much more immersive way. So the metaverse is really that future where we transition from a physical world into a completely virtual experience and start to socialise, live and work together in virtual realities.
How do you see the metaverse being utilised in the future?
I think most people see the metaverse as a way of thinking through the next evolution of digital experiences. So moving away from phones that we hold in our hands to worlds that we step into and inhabit as citizens. So we're going to have headsets on for a lot of our lives. We're going to be using augmented reality to interact with digital objects on the physical world. And one of the big questions we're asking today is, how do we feel about that? Can we stay human in a world where everything's online?
Is that the sort of experience you're giving people here today?
Well, today people can experience a whole range of different virtual reality applications, from painting in 3 dimensions to stepping onto Everest to thinking about how gaming's evolving into virtual reality experiences too. So there's something for everybody, and whether you're a scientist, an artist, an engineer or working in business, you can see some of these applications for yourself and see what they're going to be in the future.
What VR technology have you got here today?
So what's really wonderful about the VR technology today is that it's so affordable and accessible. So many things that you can purchase are available to people off the shelf in the high street. And so the headsets we have today are the Oculus Quest 2s, which are not cheap, but they're not like thousands of pounds. And you can have this remarkably powerful experience by buying something like that. So we're showing people what's possible with the Quest 2. Things like controlling it just with your hands rather than controllers. This is one of the many things that the technology can do now.
If you want to hear more about the metaverse, you can find out at www.beinghumanfestival.org.
Now, everyone thinks that they're better than their friends when it comes to couch gaming. But what about everyone in Manchester? And are you really qualified to host a gaming radio show if you don't have the clout to back it up? Well, we took a trip to local cinema Chapeltown Picture House to take part in Manchester's Amateur Gaming League. But before we did, I spoke to organiser and host Bailey about their monthly event.
Left and right bumpers, I think, to spin it around. I don't know, we'll find out. And that's it. So you can press.
For the people listening, could you describe to us what the event sort of looks like? You know, the big screen.
It's not a conventional cinema. It is in fact a loading bay of an old textile warehouse with a really good cinema setup put into it. So yeah, really high spec sound system, really nice projector, nice big screen. Certainly nowhere near like anything anyone would play at home. And I think that's part of the appeal. So we play a lot of indie games, a lot of retro games, but sometimes we do put like massive games on there that really take advantage of the cinema.
Research I've been doing online, you tend to keep the games that we're going to be playing at the event sort of close to the chest before the event starts. What games have we had in previous weeks that sort of are a good indication of the kind of thing that we're looking for?
Well, it's a mixture of retro stuff, so you'll see some sort of quite a few SNES games, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Mario Kart, a couple of NES bits, Mario, that was the first game. Time Trial on Mario Brothers 1 was the first game we ever played here, and it went down storm. But then loads of like weird PC indie games that people have never heard of or played, really surprising. Then like some big budget stuff, Doom, like the most recent Doom Eternal, stuff like that, stuff you want to see on a big screen.
So a big huge variation and sort of.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to find you online, if anybody wants to get involved, what is the best place for them to look for you?
Website www.cphmcr.com or cphmcr on all socials.
Now, that was a very civilised conversation we had before the event started, but let's take a moment to hear how things went. And you might notice one subtle edit in some of this audio. So things started well, as Josh points out here.
That went surprisingly well.
They got a little bit spicy in the middle.
That's the most stressed I've ever been in my entire life. And by the end, when football got involved, well, let's hear for ourselves. What? Oh. Yahoo! All in all, a mixed result.
And now we have an exclusive interview with Jacob Holden, who is part of the service delivery team at game accessibility non-profit Special Effects. Before we hear from Jacob, here's a little bit about what they do.
Nobody likes being left out. That's why Special Effect are helping people with physical disabilities to play video games.
Now, it's really inspirational stuff that Special Effects are doing, and to tell us a little bit more about the work is Jacob Holden. Hello, Jacob.
Good morning. How's it going?
Not too bad. Thank you for joining us on the show. Could you give us a little bit more detail about what Special Effects do and your role in particular?
Yeah. So my role is an occupational therapist working at Special Effect. And what we do is that our mission is to help players who have a physical disability to access video games. So someone who may not be able to access a standard gamepad on console or mouse and keyboard on PC, then we look for alternative means to provide them the equipment that that helps them to play games better. So we use adaptive controllers, we use joysticks, external switches, anything we need to get them to where they need to be to help them play easier. And every single setup that we create is bespoke to the person's physical condition and the games they want to play. So you could have switches and joysticks and controllers mounted by people's heads, by their fingers, by their toes, anywhere where they have functional movement. So it's really tailored to the individual.
It's very compassionate work that you do, but what is it that inspired you to start doing work with Special Effects?
Well, I qualified as an occupational therapist or an OT back in 2018. And normally in the kind of OT roles, you would be out in the community, out in hospitals, and I thought that wasn't really for me. And my passion was in video gaming. And when I stumbled upon a job interview that combined OT with video games, I thought that's the one for me. And so I decided to go all out. And 4 years later, here I am contributing to the amazing mission of Special Effect.
I mean, it almost seems meant to be in a way, doesn't it? What would you say the most rewarding part of your work is?
It's been really nice to get that immediate feedback when we help somebody to play games. When we do, for example, like a home visit, because we take a whole bunch of kit with us, we do lots of trial and error to make sure that they're testing out all the kit they can and just see what works best for them. When they can finally play after even not being able to play ever or having a long break from playing, getting that immediate smile from them being able to access games is just it just warms me so much. It's incredibly rewarding to help these people who are really vulnerable to access one of my greatest passions, and it's really nice to get them involved with that.
Can I just ask you, where can people find out more if they're interested?
You can take a look at our website, www.specialeffect.org.uk. We've got a whole range of resources. We've got other websites, including gameaccess.info, where we provide gaming breakdowns and several articles that basically provide details about certain accessibility settings and controls in particular games, but also articles about specific equipment that we use. But if you take a look at the Special Effect website and just get involved in our mission if you really want to.
Well, thank you, Jacob, for coming onto the show and giving us a bit of insight into that. But
yeah, now it's time to test your gaming knowledge and see if you can beat us here in the studio.
That's right. It's time for Player versus Presenter.
Player versus Presenter.
So the way this works is very simple. Josh here will be asking some gaming trivia questions, and you'll have 10 seconds to answer each one.
If you get it right, we move on to the next question. But if you get it wrong, David and I get a chance to steal your points.
Once we run out of time, Josh will reveal the scores, and we will find out if you've played well enough to beat the presenters.
Jacob, are you ready?
Let's roll.
Okay, question 1. Wii Sports is the most successful game to date on the original Wii consoles, but which of these sports is not available on the original game? Tennis, skiing, boxing, or golf?
I reckon skiing.
Correct. Question 2. Quantic Dream created the hit 2018 story-based game Detroit Become Human. What type of beings are the three main characters? Androids, aliens, or gorillas?
Androids.
Correct. Question 9. A popular character from the Super Mario series is a friendly green character, Yoshi. Is he a frog, a dinosaur, or a turtle?
I think it's a dinosaur, isn't he?
Correct. Question 4. In 2011, Rockstar released a detective-based open-world game called LA Noire. What time period was the title set? 1930s, 1940s, or 1980s?
I think this might have been 40s.
Correct. A reference to a stolen sweet roll has been a running gag in which of the following games? Skyrim, God of War, or Assassin's Creed?
Let me guess. Someone stole your sweet roll.
Assassin's Creed?
Incorrect. Presenters?
Is that one Skyrim?
Correct. And final question. In Final Fantasy VII, the death of Aerith has stuck with players for years, but who was the villain who killed her? A. Sephiroth, B. Jenova, or C. Cloud?
It was a blasted Sephiroth.
Correct. And that's all we have time for today on the Player vs Presenter.
Josh, what are the final scores?
Well, I think I'd be lying to say it was a close battle. Jacob clearly won with a 5-1 score.
That means, Jacob, you have beaten the presenters.
Yay!
Well, thank you, Jacob, for coming on to the show, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening. Remember to find us online at @NextLevelUtter and tell us how much better than me and Eleanor you probably did on the quiz.
Thanks to Josh for the news, to Lucy and Alfie for their technical prowess. I have been Eleanor.
And I have been David on this episode of Next Level. Good game, well played.
This is Otter Radio. Welcome
To the next level.